Hi guys, welcome to Campfire Discussions with Brandy. I am here with Miss Joanna Harbour. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, Miss Joanna, why are you laughing at us, man? She is here to talk about her run for what she's running for. So why don't you tell us a little bit?
Sorry, wrong button.
Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're running for, and why?
Okay. Well, my name is Joanna Harbour, and I'm running for U.S. Congress in the 3rd Congressional District for Oregon. And currently that seat is held by Earl Blumenauer. Mm-hmm. And I am running in, the question was what I'm running for and why, right?
Yep.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I got that right. So the reason why I decided to run, I actually ran in 2020 against him, and I decided to run this time for kind of the same reasons. We need change. We need a different direction, and things have gotten worse since 2020.
Yeah.
And I think it is time for change and new ideas, new people in there getting things done for the people of the district. In 2020, in 2020, I lived in the district, and I just want to get this done at the top of the show.
Yeah.
With redistricting, they actually moved me out of the district a fourth of the mile.
Oh, okay.
But in Congress, you just have to live in the state. You don't have to live in the district.
Oh, okay.
So I can run. I've been asked by others if I were to win, would I move into the district? And I would. I think you should live in the district you're representing.
Yeah.
And so I would actually pick up and move, even though I like where I'm living. I would move and try and find a place that would fit my needs within the district. And that's kind of why I started to run so late. I signed up the second before the last date in the primary.
Yeah.
Was because of I wasn't in the district. I kept watching to see if somebody else was going to run, and it was getting to the nth hour. And I was praying about it, talking with my family, and then I got a call from someone who said, "Hey, we really need somebody to run. We need all seats to be filled." And and so I decided to go ahead and run again and go see what kind of change we can make back in D.C. Drain the swamp.
I like that. That's a good idea. So you say you'll move back into the district. So what's in the district? What parts of, I know Estacada is part of it, or is it just part of Estacada?
Just part of Estacada. So it's really kind of mostly on this side of the river. So going towards Malala is not, some of it is just a little tiny bit, like in Day Hill Road, I think.
Okay.
But the map is really weird how they drew it. So it's kind of mostly Estacada up north. It gets like Sandy. It goes out to Welch's government camp that way.
Cool.
And then it gets a little bit of Happy Valley. Mm-hmm. And then it's gets all of Hood River is in the district, which is brand new. Hood River was not included. So basically it's all of Mount Hood is in it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds, yeah.
And then Multnomah County. So it goes, takes, Gresham, Troutdale, Fairview, Corbett, all those areas, and goes into Portland. And I think it has a little tiny bit of southeast Portland. Mm-hmm. It gets like some of the St. John's area, but it doesn't have north, east, and southeast, especially on the other side of the river.
Okay.
Those are either going to be in CD5 or CD1, Congressional District 1. So. Okay.
So for those, we have a couple comments. Says greetings, hi, Joanna, greetings, and someone said LMAO.BGM. I'm guessing the sounds that he's making or something. So my question is, how would you explain what this job entails? What would you be doing? Because some people don't understand all the positions there are in government. So who would you be working with, and what would you be doing in this position?
That's an excellent question. There are a lot of positions in government, and each one is vital and important. Mm-hmm. This one is running for U.S. Congress, which goes back to D.C., so I would be the representative for those in that 3rd district we just described, mm-hmm. their voice in Congress. So all these federal bills they pass, I would be working on those issues, trying to get some of our ideas through and passed. I'd only be one of 435 members, so it's not an easy task to go back there, and you got to get partnerships, work with people. So I would look forward to going back with brand new Congresswoman Lori Chavez-DeRemer running in the 5th. Yeah. Alex Scarletto in the 4th. Mm-hmm. We have Mike Erickson who's running in the 6th. All those are open seats. Yeah. So those are up for grabs, which makes it a very tight race. And Cliff Bentz is already over there in the 2nd, and he will most likely win re-election. And so that would bring us to a total of, if all of us go, there'd be 5 out of the 6. And I believe Christopher Mann has a good shot of unseating Susan Bonamici in CD1. Cool. And so basically there are 2 incumbents, Earl Blumenauer in CD3 and Susan Bonamici in CD1, who have been Democrat incumbents who have been there for a long time and haven't done much for their districts. So it would be nice. Right. It'd be nice to send people out there who's going to work to get the economy going again, because we all need relief. Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah! And you say if all these people get in, that would be every district in Oregon would be represented by a conservative? They'd be represented by a Republican. Yeah, cool. Of various stripes of Republican. I don't want to label all of them, but we all tend to be more conservative, obviously way more than the Democrats. Yeah. I'm extremely conservative, and we would go back there with those principles of limited government and being for the people. And everyone has campaigning on their own issues. We have those who are campaigning on parents' rights in schools, which is very important. Yeah. My thing would be school choice. Yes. Let the money follow the kid. But here's the trick. When the money follows the kid, there can't be strings attached. Right. Other than they meet math requirements or English requirements for the grade level. Because we don't want to say, oh, you're homeschooling and you now have money from the federal or state government. So now you have to teach our woke stuff at home. Right. So we have to make sure that the homeschoolers get to decide their curriculum. Yeah. And they can include religion. They can include all religions, no religions. They should be able to do what they as parents deem what's fit. Oh, because we can, and we also with private schools, we don't want to tell private schools what to do. I mean, the point of having private schools is some of them are religious, some of them have different academic things they're trying to work on, and we don't want to put handcuffs on them. Yeah. So we have to be very careful when the money follows the kids. We make sure there's no strings attached, because that could be a trap. Yeah, I totally agree with that. As a parent in the district, we've had our troubles with public school. Riley is currently on a waiting list for a private school, and as we wait, she is in public school, and we have trouble with that because we are in Oregon, and a lot of things are very progressive here, and with our belief system, there's a lot of things that they push,
in the public school system that we don't necessarily agree with. And I think it's very important to have school choice and have the chance to be able to educate our children the way we see fit. I don't think the government should have a say in that, at least to the extent that they do. So I love that. There's a couple questions up here. Actually, there's one. All the rest are praising you. That's awesome. Great job. You're the best suited candidate. How was your journey till now? Were there any kinds of ups and downs?
Good question. I think everyone has ups and downs in their lives. We all have things that we struggle with. My journey, I graduated from Estacada High School. I actually graduated in 96, which was the year Earl got into this office. So that's how long he's been there and how old I am. I guess is the way you look at it. And so so after Estacada High School, I went to college in Idaho. I went to Northwest Nazarene University. I got a degree in political science, so I've always been into politics. And then from there, I went to law school at Willamette University, and I graduated there and started a practice. Well, short-lived practice with a law school graduate in Corvallis, but that didn't really work out. So I came home to Estacada, where I belonged.
Yeah.
And I office shared with an attorney until she passed away, Linda Alvar, amazing attorney, great mentor. She had some amazing stories. She basically kind of helped me, mentored me, and then I was there to help her family when she passed away with transitioning the practice and helping make sure her clients weren't going through the cracks there.
Yeah.
So, and her husband, Rob Algar, he just recently passed away, but he was my paralegal for years. Amazing man, and I really do. It's kind of hard not having him here. He's very proud of me running, and he looked forward to me winning, so... that's kind of a hard thing. But so I had that practice till about 2016. I did divorces, was like probably the biggest cases, wills, trusts, adoptions, guardianships, those types of cases. Just some property, a lot of business formation, things like that. But around that time, it just financially wasn't really making it. And so there was a bunch of other reasons why. So I closed that down. And I've been doing various other things since that time. I did inactivate my bar license because it was cheaper than having it active. And I recently reactivated it so I could practice law again. So,
well, that's good.
So I can. I'm just currently not. So please don't bombard me with legal questions. I don't have time for that. But I'm currently a caregiver for my mom, and helping her out is what I primarily do for income, among other things. And I put on too many volunteer hats. I am a PCP with, which is precinct committee person in Clackamas County Republican Party. Those are the elected positions where the people who live in basically a precinct, like a neighborhood, vote you in, and you then represent them at the Republican Party.
I'm actually one too.
And I got there in 2016 simply by having us write names in. We didn't know at the time that you didn't have to fill out any forms if 3 people write your name in.
Oh, wow.
And between me and my parents, that's 3 people. So my dad and I both became PCPs around that time. And from there, I just got more and more involved. I became a delegate, which goes back to the state party. And then I became the treasurer last year just this January when our treasurer resigned. And so I'm the treasurer for Clackamas County Republican Party. And then at the state level, I became, I was on the bylaws committee. And when the chair moved to Tennessee, I became the bylaws chair. And then I became a parliamentarian. And I've just been very active in party politics. And I think it was maybe getting more involved in that also kind of led me more towards running for office sooner rather than later. It just seemed to be a good time to run for office. But the ups and downs, I've kind of mentioned some of them. We all have our various ups and downs, loss of grandparents and personal issues and issues like that. Like when I was in law school, I fell down the stairs rushing to class and hurt my ankle so bad that I was in a wheelchair for 3 months. And I can tell you places are not handicapped accessible regardless of what they say until you're in a wheelchair. So we need to work on handicap accessibility. But because places are not, you just can't get there. I mean, how are you supposed to open this heavy door when you're in a wheelchair? So, but yes, and so there's just various things that have gone on in all of our lives that we all have to go through and learn how to adapt and move on from. And so I think that was a great question, though. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, we're going to read a couple more comments and then we'll hit our first sponsor. Somebody said that's really impressive. You are doing an amazing job till now. We'll get to those 2 questions there when we get back. Our first sponsor is Whitney Signs. They're a local company here in Estacada owned by our wonderful mayor and his wife, Miss Whitney, Mary Whitney. We love them to death. They're incredible people. They do a lot of service in the community, and they just love this community. So if you can support them by, hiring them to do a sign or stickers or whatever, that would be great. And check out their video. That's my favorite commercial. Okay, so since we're back, you just said something about they did your signs when you're in law practice.
Yeah, cool. Whitney Signs did my signs when I had the law firm. When we moved over, I guess Timbertown Fitness is where we were, where we had our firm, and they did the signs and the door, whatever you put on the door that says the hours and things like that. They did that stuff for me, and they did a fabulous job. So
yeah, I love them. They do everything any signs or banners or whatever we get for whether it's the show or our nonprofit, they do all that work and they do such a good job. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a couple questions here. Do you find politics hard? And I think you did kind of talk about what inspired you, but if you can go in deeper on what inspired you, that would be great.
Yeah, so politics is, yes, it's kind of hard because it's frustrating. It's one of those subjects they said if you don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion. Mm-hmm. Anymore, what do you have to talk about, though? The weather?
Yeah.
So, but it can be hard because a lot of times you think someone's your friend and really you find out they stab you in the back, but you still have to be nice to them. It's kind of, politics itself is a dirty business. And you have to find allies and friends who will support you, and you need your family and others who will help you and make sure that they're keeping you grounded too. Because, if I get it back to office, I can't let myself get a big head.
No.
I mean, bigger than it already is. I have a pretty big head. But I mean, as far as ego goes, I don't want to go back there and have a big ego and become what I'm trying to get out. Right. Someone who stays too long. And so it is hard, but for those who have a passion for it, it can go in there and you can make a difference. And we need people who can go in there and do it, even though it's like probably the dirtiest job. Yeah. I mean, there's always that thing, dirty job. People think, oh, maybe, picking up the garbage or whatever is a dirty job. But actually, my garbage man is like the best guy in the world. Yeah. So I don't want to pick on that particular business, but technically, this one isn't dirty in the sense you don't have to physically go home and shower because you have all this dirt on you. But sometimes you have to shower because you get in there and you're like, what is going on in here? It's called a swamp for a reason. Yeah, and I agree with you there. It's not necessary. It is hard, but I also like a challenge. I went through law school. I did all these different types of things, and so I think it would be a fun challenge. And kind of what led me into this path, I've always been into politics. I guess maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know. My first campaign I remember being involved in, I was 10 years old. And I remember doing door knockings and being in the office and watching people answer the phones and do stuff. And I think that kind of lit something in me because I saw the candidate was conversing with people. And I saw that, it's about people who care and want to make a difference. I saw that side of it. I didn't necessarily see the dark side of it yet. Yeah. And so I've just always been gravitated towards politics. In fact, I think I told my mom I wanted to be involved in politics when I was not in politics, wanted to be in like a position like I'm running for now when I was a kid. And I did political science in college and really studied it. And I always found it fascinating. And it's kind of interesting what makes people decide how they're going to vote and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of an interesting thing. And but the biggest thing is it's a good way to help people. Yes. Because I have a skill set that can help me go back there and get the job done. Yeah. I have thick skin where people can insult me. And it's like, okay, that's nice. That's what you think about me. But I know what I think about me. And I know what God thinks about me. So that's right. And so it's just that set of unique skills that I have that I can go back there and actually help the people in the 3rd district.
Yeah.
Help their needs and help them do what they can. I mean, if all of us went back there, A, it'd be too big, but B, we just don't have time. People have to live their lives. They have to raise their families. They have to do the jobs here to keep this state going. And so I'm willing to go back there and represent you and do the job for you.
Man, that's awesome. I know for me, you mentioned how politics is a dirty business. I grew up in a family where my dad was really political, and he made me kind of hate politics because he was so angry about it. But then when the fires hit and we had started our nonprofit, and Joel decided that he wanted to do more to serve the community. His heart is like yours. It's to serve, to help, to do something good. And he became a city councilman. I learned a lot more about how dirty politics can get, especially when you have people that are serving for the right reasons. They're doing it to help. They're doing it to continue that work. It's really hard to see people that don't necessarily understand how politics work bash them and go after them. But I know it's changed my perspective a lot. I used to think all politicians were just evil, but in reality that's not the case. There are bad ones. They're like this guy that you need to replace, you know, that have been there too long and have lost the vision and lost sight of what they're there for. But there are people like you that are running that really care about the people that they want to serve and want to make a difference and want to do what the community is asking for. And I think we need to see people come together on that. Really, I do.
Yeah, it's truly hard because you do get those people who go in and they start out good and then they just get over there and it just something seeps into them and they get corrupted or they forget why they went there. And then you have those who start off bad and get over there and get into any office. But the majority, I mean, a lot of people start out trying to do good.
Right.
And, you know, you can only take so much firing. And at some point, it's better to leave the office than to let yourself get hard and forget why you got there in the first place.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I do know that just running for this position, like last time I got death threat. Just for running for office. And so I expect to have some of this stuff because you can't make everyone happy. In fact, I usually say you can't make everyone happy, but you can take everybody off. Yeah. Because it's the easiest thing to do is to just to make everyone upset. And you know, it is really hard because like they pass like bills that are like I can't even move my arms as wide as they pass them, and you know it's going to be hard to read all that stuff. And by the way, if I can't read it before we're supposed to pass it, I ain't going to vote for it.
Good.
I have to be able to know what is in it. I'm not going to pass something to know what's in it. I'm going to know what's in it before I'm voting for it or I'm not voting for it. Even if it is a good bill, it will be voted down if they're not giving us enough time to review it. Because they like to hide things and things. And so it is a very dirty business. But I think if we get the majority of us back in any of these offices, so if a majority of the 435 are good, or the majority of the 100 senators we have are good, then things are going to change. And the same at the state level. If we start making it so the majority of the people are there for the right reasons, then we get change, and we keep it that way. And it's important. If a politician does something you don't like, you let them know. But when they do something you do, let them know that too.
Thank you. Yes.
People need to know that you understand you're working for them, and we need to know what you like before we vote on a bill. Tell us. Not just after.
Or like if they're standing up for you and doing what you've asked and fighting for you, maybe show some support.
Right.
Come to those meetings or be a part of it and say thank you and kind of give that boost, because I know watching my husband, it's easier to talk about the negative. It's easier to talk about what makes you angry, but it's really hard to get people to say thank you or to say, wow, that was awesome. You know, the positive stuff isn't talked about as much.
Well, I think that's more of a human nature thing. Somebody did something wrong, so we're going to let them know. And a lot of times we forget that we're supposed to also let people know when they do something right. Like, I have my aunt did this with her kids, and it was such a good thing. They got a gift. They had to write the thank you within it had to be a handwritten thank you, sent off and mailed within like 3 days of the gift.
I love that.
And, I think if we could remember that the people who are serving in these positions are humans, so we need to know when we're doing something good so we can continue to do something good.
Yes.
But also so that it edifies us so that we can go continue to battle for you, because this is a battle. We're fighting against a lot of entrenched long politicians, and if you get back there, you're fighting against entrenched lobbyists and all kinds of people who are doing things for their own interest, not the interest of the people that we are there to serve. And so we need backup. We need to not just know when we do something wrong. We need to know when we're doing stuff right.
I 100% agree with that. That's a big thing that I've noticed too. Some comments on here. Kelly Dowling says, "Hi Joanna, how are you? I vote for you every time."
Thank you, Kelly.
It's definitely good to help people. Kelly says, "Yes, it is." Hi Brandy Litke, love you too. Love you. Hi Kelly, thank you for being here. Politics can be run both in good and bad ways. What do you think? And then Kelly said, "No, you can't." I think that was too. You can't make everybody happy. Personally, I think politics can be good and bad. But like you said, if you have the majority of people there that are with good intentions and wanting to make the right changes, I think it can be a really positive thing. You know?
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. And a lot of things have been going on in the government for so long that it's going to take a while to unravel it. I can't remember which of the founding fathers said it, but one of them said like every 200 or 250 years you need a revolution, meaning because so much corruption comes in. I didn't realize how smart they were, because aren't we like 246 years old? And so the thing of it is we have to get in there and give the tools so we can do the things. Like, you can't fire a federal employee. Wow. It takes. I did a semester in D.C. where I went back and I had classes in a special program called the American Studies program, and I did an internship, and I worked with a juvenile prosecutor in D.C. Mm-hmm. And they had secretaries, and I'm trying to remember, they had 4 or 5. And only one would kind of have to do the job, and the rest wouldn't really do the job. And the interns, we had to answer the phones.
Yeah.
So we're unpaid people there trying to learn and be educated by the prosecutor so we could eventually maybe do that as a job. Yeah. And we're having to do that, and they couldn't fire them. They couldn't do anything with them because they had their union and all that kind of stuff. And think of all the wasteful spending and all the stuff that goes on because of things like that.
Yeah.
And so we need to get in there and change that. But things have been done so long with unions and things, it's going to take a while to get that done. But it does need to be done.
Yeah.
It's going to take fighters going back there and doing it. Mm-hmm. And bringing a light to it.
On the way. Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to take a lot of gumption and a lot of effort. There's a lot of work. And like you said, it takes a lot to do things that a lot of people from the outside looking in would say, well, why can't you just do this real quick? There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of laws that are stopping certain things. And there's a lot of, like, for example, here in Estacada, there's a lot of growth. Well, there's a lot of state laws that stop our city from stopping some of that growth.
Right.
And so there's lots of things in all of politics that people, if you actually do the research and look into it, you'd see a lot of people really are doing a lot of work to try to make things happen. It just takes time and patience, unfortunately.
It's like peeling back an onion. Yeah. It truly is, because there's so many things that are done. I mean, that was back in 1998 when I was in D.C. Yeah. So you can imagine what the problem's like now. Right. It was just a side note for the viewers. They might find this interesting. It was during the impeachment trial of President Clinton. When I was there. So when I was telling people I was going to go have an internship, they all kept saying, I hope not the White House. And I was like, yeah, he would know better than to hit on me because I'd just smack him. I don't care if he's the president.
There you go.
So,
get out.
Get out.
Target destroyed.
Oh, he was an interesting one, wasn't he? That's funny. I asked that. I'm going to look at any questions I had on here that we might not have answered so far, because some of the viewers have asked the questions I was going to ask, so that's great. What do you want to see happen in Oregon? You talked about school choice. Are there any other big issues that you want to see happen or change or fix?
So one of the things is I'm going back to be a representative in federal stuff. So a lot of it will be bringing resources back or letting them know over there what's going on in Oregon so we can fix issues there with the federal resources we have.
Right.
One of the issues I think became forefront, especially when I was running in 2020, was the fire issue. They have that let it burn policy, where they just let it go out of control till it's endangering livestock, animals, people's houses, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it was so bad. I mean, I think, what was it, like 60 homes or something horrible lost in Estacada alone, let alone across the state. First thing, I think I could get enough buy-in to pass immediately the stop, let it burn policy, so that if there's a fire, we can go in, we can stop it, so we're not endangering people's lives.
Yeah. And I mean,
accomplished. Yeah. Even in 2014. when with a fire, I don't think any buildings or anything was destroyed with that, but imagine all the wildlife we lost and all the forests and stuff. So, I mean, we need to end it for so many reasons. But my ultimate goal would be to actually end federal control over our forest lands and go to local, not state. This is very important, but local, because who's going to keep it up better? Those who live in it and have to deal with the consequences if they do a bad job.
Well, yeah. Look at what we just went through in 2020, and who, when the county and the state and everybody said backed off, our town, even threat of being jailed, even under threat of being fined, said, screw you, we're going to save our town. I think local control would mean we would do the right, cleaning of the forest and making sure that it's the way it needs to be so that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, we wouldn't have that situation. I'm very thankful to all of our neighbors who did that. I mean, my house is still here because it came within 4th mile of my house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so many of our houses are still here. Yeah. And if we had maybe fought it better to begin with, maybe we wouldn't have lost all 60 of those homes. Yeah. And I feel so those families. And I know locally, I hope those who are running for local office will work on fixing it so that they don't have as many hoops to jump through just to rebuild a home that was burned down outside of their control.
I know.
There are too many hoops for them to jump through. So we need our county commissioners and our local state legislatures to work on that particular issue, because that's local red tape that got in the way of that. And so we need those things to be done for those people.
I agree. And we saw it firsthand at the Relief Center. With all the people that came together, we had federal and what was interesting is when the federal fire, people in charge of what was going on came in, we had more work being done, more communication, more help than with the county, unfortunately. And it was interesting to watch how everyone came together and worked together. Our town came together. There was no political line. There was no you're this, you're that. Everybody came together and fought for each other. And I really hope we can find a way to come together in times that aren't of crisis and do the same thing. Because it's like, we're really unique in Estacada.
Right.
When we're in a crisis, we come together and there's nothing stopping us. I would love to see that happen no matter what.
And Jessie Lee did that song.
Yes.
Small Town. I love that song.
Yes.
I love that she did that. But
she did.
Yeah, I mean, we really did come together, and it was really important. And they did that in communities all over. I hear that happened in Malala, and there was that horrible fire that was in, was it Lincoln County? Had a lot of houses burnt, and then way down south, there was a lot. The communities came together everywhere, and I think that's one good thing about our country. We do have that. We're not like other places. When we have a problem, we get together and we solve it.
Yeah.
And we help each other in crisis. The problem, I think, comes down when things aren't necessarily a crisis and we kind of settle back, and sometimes we go off of assumptions and we do things and say things that maybe we shouldn't. And I think overall, though, we have a very unique people in this country, and in our state, in our town, in the region. I mean, we're all unique, and we have strong community ties. And when we need to, we know we can count on each other, which is very good.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome point. We do. There's a lot of little things that don't really matter. When things are going good, you start to kind of argue over stuff that's not really important. But when it comes down to it and the rubber meets the road, I believe that we can count on each other to fix whatever is going on. Especially, the fires proved that. And then the ice storm right after. We had a really hard couple of years.
It was a very interesting time. Well, the thing with campaigning during that time period, we had COVID, so we locked down, so there's no events to go to, no rallies, no speaking events, nothing like that. And so I was doing everything I could with signs and doing sign flag waves and that type of thing.
Yeah.
But there really was no getting out and meeting the people, which that's really kind of a bummer, because you want to represent the people, you need to be communicating with them. So that really made it tough. And then we were evacuated from our house for 26 days right before the big election.
Yeah.
So being in a hotel, that made it kind of an interesting thing, but and it was kind of a hard time, but I just still feel for those who actually lost everything.
Yeah, me too.
That is just heartbreaking. And
I know I took a drive just the other day with my friend Kathy, and we went on Cardinal. And so Cardinal is a road right across the river from us. And if you go all the way down to the end, a friend of ours, his home was burnt. And this fire was very unique because the home right next to it was fine. But this home, all you can see is the foundation from the shop and some of the shop items still on the foundation. Everything else was gone. and then like you go down the road and all the other houses were okay. So this fire was really
weird. Yeah, I did a tour as a candidate
Yeah.
with actually Commissioner Mark Scholl.
Mhm.
And we went around, and Mayor Sean Drinkwine took us around Estacada, and it was devastating in the church and everything. It was really devastating. And then we went down to Malala, and the mayor at the time, and I forgive me for not remembering his name. He's not the mayor now. He was a nice guy, and he took us on a tour of what was going on in Malala, and the fire was like pretty much indiscriminate. It was like it would hit here and miss here, and then hit all these houses, and then skip a house, and then it was very sad, because those are people's lives and their stuff, and I mean,
scary.
Yes, it is. It's belongings, but you can't replace family pictures or heirlooms and things like that. And I hadn't heard I heard everybody got out. I hadn't heard if maybe some pets were lost in the process. I don't think so, because we did have a warning system. I'm thankful for that. But, we do need to work on that too.
Yep.
The local need to work on that, because I got the call at 7:30 to evacuate, and I didn't answer it. They had to leave a message because I was already on the road.
Right.
Because I got a heads up and was leaving before then, and it was long getting out of here, which...
Yeah. I know that was a big bottleneck mess. I know, well, there's lasting effects from it too. Like, for example, our daughter, anytime she sees the danger level go up, she gets pretty concerned, because, she's 9 now. She was 7 at the time. Our kids have lived through this traumatic experience that they're never going to forget. They're always going to be worried. Every time fire season comes now, she's always, like, her eyes are glued on those signs.
Right.
And anytime it goes past yellow, she's like, "Mommy, are we going to have to evacuate? Are we going to have a fire? Can we stop it?" And I always try to tell her, if we're responsible and people are responsible, we should be okay. But, we're better prepared now.
Yeah, well, and I'd like to get back there and do in that let it burn practice. So we do put it out right away.
Yeah.
So we don't get to that. We don't
I
get
agree.
to the emergency situation. I know there's some things we can't control and some that won't be put out right away. But if at least we're trying, that gives us a head start.
I agree.
And so I think that's so important to get someone back there who understands that, and also not try and stop the logging it completely on the mountain, because my opponent, he was working on, I don't know if it passed yet, I need to double check, on a bill that would basically limit all the logging.
Wow.
And it's a renewable resource. As long as we're using it wisely and planting and doing all that stuff, it can be used for recreation. It can be used for the animals that are already there. It can be used for timber. It's a renewable resource. It's not something that is like never going to go away and we never get it back. As long as we're doing it right, it's there. So
yeah, and it makes a difference too. We will get to your comments after our next break. Our next sponsor is Hitching Post Pizza. Miss Valerie is also really big in our community of Estacada, and she has the best pizza in Oregon, I think. So, and maybe in the country, but her pizza's really good. And she offers gluten-free.
Yes, she does.
And she does sauce-free for my daughter, which is big, because not most places won't do that. So check out her video. We were yelling for air during the break, because we have a little fan over there that he can throw at us when they're on break. Somebody said, yes, exactly, we can't make everyone happy. Shelby said, you're looking really pretty, Brandy. Oh, thanks, that's really sweet. Yeah, exactly. Hello. Hi, Dorinda. Hi, Michael, Laurelyn, Shelby, Connie. Thank you guys for coming and being here with us. We're talking to Miss Joanna Harbour, who's running for Congress. And let's jump back into it. What else would you like people to know about you?
Oh, about me? I thought you were going to say about what I want to do. About me?
Well, about you and what you want to do. Either one.
Well, there's not a lot to know about me, because I kind of did a summary of some of my education, some of my work stuff. Yeah. But what I'd like to do when I get there, first of all, my first vote is so that Nancy Pelosi's not Speaker of the House anymore.
Yes.
And there I am at the county fair. And I would like to go back there and make us energy independent again.
Yeah.
Why are we sitting on this energy? I mean, California passed a bill saying you can't buy an electric car after 2035. Then 2 days later, or whatever it was, they're saying, oh, by the way, you can't charge your electric car anymore because our power grid can't take it.
Yeah. Wow.
They're passing a bill to force people to go to transportation they're not ready to sustain.
I like that picture.
I don't get that. Yeah, that was at a meet and greet for a House district for Republican PCPs.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so important that we do become energy independent and use those resources. I mean, why are we paying so much for gas when we can actually become energy independent and rely on ourselves for that?
Yeah.
And why are we pushing electric cars so much when the grid is not ready for it?
Absolutely.
And has anyone really studied? I mean, it takes gas and coal and all that stuff to probably mine for the electric cars, to make the electric cars, to ship them here.
Yeah.
And then there's no way to recycle the batteries. What are we really doing?
With the Backwoods Brothers.
Yep, there I am with the Backwoods Brothers. Such a good picture.
I love that picture of you.
And Mary Whitney took that.
Yes, she did.
And so and there I am on the radio, my first radio interview I did. So, yeah,
Cool.
It is kind of an interesting thing. We have a resource, and yet we are not using it.
Yeah.
So I think it would be energy independence, and then we need to undo all the things they've done to destroy our economy.
Yeah. I
mean,
agree with
people
that.
are hurting, and we need to stop that, and we need to undo that. I don't know why we need 87,000 IRS agents.
No, come on.
And arm them? I've been asking.
And arm
No
them?
one has yet to tell me if they've heard of. I haven't heard that they had issues collecting taxes.
Mm-mm.
As far as I know, they're still collecting it from everybody. I know they've sent some famous people to jail for not paying them. So apparently they've been able to deal with the tax problems. Why do we need that many more?
Yeah.
My fear is not only is it because of the taxes they just passed, but they plan on passing more taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So they need agents to go collect it.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need any more taxes.
We need to cut spending. How about you get your house in order and you spend your money wisely before you go to the people and ask them to pay for things?
Yes, thank you.
So there's so much to do to get when we get back there to DC, and I'm hoping that the country is sending us a bunch of fresh, brand new Republicans who are ready to go in there and actually get the job done and do these things.
Yeah.
Because the people need help. We need relief. We can't keep going like this.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's really bad in states where we have the Democratic-controlled Oregon right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're suffering probably more than some of these other states, because the state of Oregon isn't helping the people either.
No.
Nope, they're going to keep gas tax high instead of maybe suspending it for a while. They're going to do all this kind of thing. Now they want to toll us.
Yep.
Which, by the way, they need federal approval for tolling. And if it hasn't happened by the time I get back there, I'll fight it.
Good.
I don't think it should be approved.
What in tarnation?
I think what we should do is actually go back there and change it so that in order to get federal approval, a vote has to happen to the people that will be affected by it first.
Yeah.
And if the people approve it, then it can have federal approval.
I like that. That's a really good plan. Somebody had commented on there when we were looking at the pictures that we need people to go out and vote. It's really, really important this election particularly. We really need people out there voting, because I think the people are ready for a change, especially here in Oregon. And if everybody gets out in there and votes, we have a really good chance of getting the right people in office.
Well, like I said, we have the unique opportunity where we have 3 open seats. We should have technically only had 1 open seat. The brand new seat we just got because we had such a huge population growth. If we keep going the way we go, we'll probably lose that seat in 10 years. But we just got that brand new seat that should have been empty. But DeFazio finally did the right thing and resigned after 40-something years in office.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Schrader lost in the primary. And so that left us with this unique opportunity where we can have those open seats, which it's easier to go open against an incumbent. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to those 3 going back, and I'm looking forward to the people in my district saying, okay, we've had enough. We're ready to give it. We're ready for change. We'll give you 2 years. If you don't do the job, you're out. But we're going to give you the 2 years.
Give you the chance, And there was another comment or question on there that goes right along with that. They said if, but I'm going to say when you make it to Congress, what is the first thing you will do?
Well, the very first thing I think we do is vote on who will be Speaker of the House. So not Nancy Pelosi, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I won't be voting for her. Her time will be done. Yep.
Agree.
And so I think that's the first thing. I'm going to get back there, get my bearings as fast as I can, and get to work. I think the easiest thing I can get by on depending on the makeup, would be the energy independence and fixing the economy. As long as there's enough of us, we can do that. And then as things progresses, I'll start doing the end it, let it burn, and then work towards the important one. I mean, we need to really do the school choice. We need to have the federal money, not just some states are doing the state money, but we need all money that goes to a kid to follow that child with no strings attached.
Yep.
And then work on local control for the forest and other things that will help bring resources to it. Because we clearly have had a homeless issue and affordable housing and all these issues that have been plaguing us. In fact, I think my opponent has been campaigning on those for years, and he's been there 26 years now. We need to work on that. So we need to find out what's working in other regions and maybe bring those programs here, or just bring resources to programs that will work here. But we need someone who's actually going to work on the problem. So we need to change local leadership too.
Yeah.
We need a different governor to be partnering with to do those things. So we need to work to get Christine Drazen elected.
We do.
Joe Ray Perkins to give us help in the Senate side, and then elect all these Congress people I've been talking about, and we can go back there and we can bring resources that will help work with Christine Drazen and a new, we need to get rid of the supermajority of Democrats at the state house and state Senate in Oregon. You give us people to work with, we can bring serious change to this state.
Yeah, that would be great. And you heard that name. Christine Drazen is running for governor, Joe Ray Perkins for Senate. And then those names you named, the other seats in Congress, what were those again?
So in Congressional District 1 is Christopher Mann. In Congressional District 2 is Cliff Bentz. Congressional District 3 is me, Joanna Harbour. Congressional District 4 is Alex Scarletto. Congressional District 5 is Lori Chavez-Dreamer. And Congressional District 6 is Mike Erickson.
Yes, we need all those people, so vote, vote, vote. We're going to go to our next sponsor, but before we do, I encourage you guys to get your comments and your questions in now. So when we come back, if there's anything you want to know, as long as it's, reasonable, just kidding. If there's anything you want to know, you better get that in so that we can ask Joanna while she's here, while we're live, and we can get that answer for you. So our next sponsor is Fiverr. They do all kinds of awesome things. Joel uses them a lot to get things made. My logo. Thank you. I was losing my words. My logo right there was made by a contractor that we used through Fiverr, and very reasonable price. So check them out.
Hi, we're Fiverr, a global marketplace connecting individuals and businesses with freelancers offering thousands of digital services. Graphic design, web development, video editing, e-commerce marketing. You name it, there's a professional freelancer ready to make it happen. Filter your search by the service needed, budget, timeline, and boom! Fiverr provides a list of talented freelancers to meet your specific needs. Always know what you'll pay up front. No hourly rates, just project-based pricing. And because payment isn't released until you approve the work, you can rest assured that you'll be satisfied with the quality and get exactly what you want. Our support team is always available to answer questions or offer assistance when you need it. With the whole world of freelance talent at your fingertips, what might you achieve? Join today and find out. Fiverr. It starts here.
Welcome back. That was Fiverr, and Jay Simmons says we need to remove whoever is deciding that copying California's failed policies is a great idea. Creating problems is not the answer. I agree. Following California sucks.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Kate Brown's term limited out. Now, Oregon does it weird. You can't serve more than 8 years in a 12-year period. So technically, she could drop out this time, and then run again in 4 years.
Ugh.
I don't think she'd have the votes to get back in. So, and I don't mean to make anyone actually throw up because I said that, but Kate Brown's term limited out. She's gone.
Like, mate.
Yeah.
And so now that she's gone, the question is who we're going to end up with. And I'm hoping we end up with the most conservative, common sense person running, which is Christine Drazen.
Yeah.
We need to get her in.
Check out our roadmap. It's really good.
Yeah, and the thing I always like to tell people is none of us candidates are perfect. We're human. We can't be perfect. And so you just have to help us. And we will do the best job we can, but you got to get us in. You got to give us the opportunity.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And governorship is for 4 years. I'm running for a 2-year position, so that's not very long.
No.
If you don't like me, you can fire me after 2 years.
Yeah, there you go.
And
But give you the chance and hold you accountable.
We need to really get that change, and we have people running for office amazing candidates at all levels. We have Christine at the governorship. We've already talked about the federal ones.
Mhm.
We have so many great candidates running for state senate, state representative, county commissioners, city council, and city mayors. And I think that's all we have up. I don't think any school board positions are up, at least not in Estacada area.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anyone talking about those races. Those are being next year, but we need to get all those races, though. We need good people on school boards.
Yeah.
So we need all these people running and all these people winning, and we can make, like I said, that change we talked about.
Yeah, I agree. We had Miss Rhonda Craig here a couple weeks ago on the Backwood Brothers, and she's running for our local city councilor. She would be amazing. She's got the same kind of heart and ideals. I think we need to get her in.
She's also an amazing photographer. Some of the
Yeah.
pictures you've seen up, she's done Geeky Girl World, I think.
Geeky Girl. Girl. Yeah, it's the two with the green dress.
So,
In the flag that she did. That's one of them, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what she
she's
did. You
great.
can see the crispness compared to the other pictures.
Right. Yeah, she did a great job.
So, and I was speaking at an event. That's why I look weird with my hands
You're
out.
speaking.
I was Italian for a minute. I actually don't think I have Italian in me, but I don't know for sure.
I don't either, but I speak a lot with my hands too. I always am moving.
Well, I
my
never
hands.
know what to do with my hands. So you'll see a lot of times I'm awkward because I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing with these right now? Sorry.
Oh my gosh. See,
Maybe too human there. But like
No.
I said, none of us candidates are going to be perfect. We all
Yeah.
have flaws. But I think the ones we've named all have good intentions.
Yep.
And they want to get in there and do what's right and common sense.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what Republicans are about. Common sense, limited government, more control for the people.
Also, in Estacada, we need you to vote for Mayor Sean Drinkwine to stay because he's the best mayor we've had, in my opinion. He really cares about the community, and he's been pushing really hard to do what our Estacada wants. Whether you're in city limits or not, he cares about what you want and what you feel and what Estacada wants. So I really hope that you keep him in because he knows what he's doing and he really loves Estacada.
And I'm not actually in city limits, but I have served on a couple of the city boards or commissions that they had set up, and I've done that because you either have one or two slots open for people outside the city, and so I got to fill that slot and do that.
That's awesome.
And it's kind of an interesting thing. But yeah, we need people to vote.
Yes.
And I know with the mail-in voting, it's kind of a weird thing. I always wait to vote the day of, and I drop it off at elections office in Oregon City. Everyone can do it their own way. Just make sure it's an official drop box, not
Yes.
an unofficial one.
Yes.
And like mail is kind of a weird thing. They passed that new law that it can accept it a week after, which is ridiculous. I mean,
hate
what
that.
happened to election day? So election integrity is extremely important.
Yes.
And if you have not viewed elections in your county, go do it. They let you sign up. You can, if you're a Republican Party member or even if you're a Democrat, you ask your party to go when they have observing, because they have times. You can take one of their slots and go observe. Or even a citizen can just call the county clerk's office and ask to observe. In Clackamas County, it's unique because they just have this one area where you just have windows and you just walk around the windows and you see all aspects of it.
I like that.
Except for the opening of the envelopes. That's like in a back room where you can't really see what's hacking. But other than that, you get to see everything. And Malona County is completely different because it's so big. It has different layers. You have to ride in an elevator, and they have someone who accompanies you everywhere, like a hall monitor, I feel like.
Wow.
But it was just kind of an interesting experience. The person was nice. I didn't mean to sound like they were mean, but they have someone, so you don't get lost, for one thing. I mean, it's a huge place.
Right.
And they have things segregated. The one thing that Maloma did better than Clackamas was you can actually see the signature verification process. It's very
like that.
fast. But so I highly recommend go watch your elections. See how your county is doing it and see if you think there's ways to improve it or kind of what's going on.
You brought up election integrity. I think that's really important. Like you said, see what's going on. Also, I like to encourage people to get involved. So come to your city council meetings, go to your school board meetings, listen to what the people who do represent you and want to represent you are actually doing in their actions and their behaviors, because you know, you can say anything, but watch what's actually happening, because there's a lot of assumptions made. I know locally there's a lot of assumptions made about our mayor and our city council and city workers and all this stuff. If you just go to council meetings, it's clear what's going on. Get involved. If you genuinely care and want to see a change, part of that is getting involved yourself. Even if you're not running, being there, being present, supporting those that run for you.
Well, and
Yeah.
you can go to city council, you can go to the county commissioners meetings and the school
Yep.
board meetings. I think they're still doing, when the legislature in an Oregon session, they're still doing Zoom. I think it's C-SPAN for the federal one. Obviously, not a lot of you are going to go to DC to do that.
Right.
But I do think it's important that you do get involved and you watch. And like we said, when you see they do something good, let that representative, whatever position they're in, let them know. And
Yes.
you can complain, please do. People are going to need to know what they're doing wrong,
Right.
but also let us know what we're doing right. The
Yeah.
other thing is help candidates. We need help. A good sign location? Let us know so we can put up signs.
Yes.
Follow us on social media. Like and share our comments and make comments so that's not just the negative people whining at us, but there's
Right.
positive comments in it. So there's various ways you can help without actually even spending money. We all need donations. It's one of the hardest things I have is asking for money, and I need to get better at it. But we all need donations. So if you can afford to donate in this current economy, please donate to your favorite candidates. But you can like on social media without any money. You can write a letter to the editor for newspapers on behalf of candidates without money. There's so many things you can do to help candidates. You can canvass, door knock with material. You can make phone calls. Yeah. Find your candidate, send them an email and say, hey, I want to help, and see what you can do.
Well, yeah, and like you said, positivity is so important because we do hear a lot of the negative most of the time. That positive remark, and I know from me being somebody, I'm not in politics per se, I am a PCP, but even as a nonprofit leader, when somebody reaches out to me and says something positive, it's rare, but it's so needed. It just re-energizes everything. It gets you back in the mood to continue to do that work. And when it's constantly negative on you, you get to a point where you're just like, why am I serving the people that hate me? So you want to hear the positive, because there is a lot of positive. We just don't talk about it so much.
Yeah, it's human nature. We always do the negative, not the positive about a business review. But the other thing about a candidate, the number one thing you can also do is talk to your family and friends. Say, hey, I just saw this interview with Joanna Harbour, and, well, she's a dork, but she's really going to do a good job. Say it in your own words, and I picked on myself because I can actually insult myself. I didn't want to pick on another candidate, but all of us candidates need to get our names out.
Yes.
Name recognition is the biggest way to get elected.
I agree. Jay said, I think if we put a focus on infrastructure first, the adoption of electric or alternative fueled vehicles will happen naturally. This cannot be forced, otherwise it will have serious backlash as we are witnessing now. And then Nathan said, are you nervous for the upcoming election?
So I don't know. It's different when you're on the ballot. This will be my second time being on the ballot. It's kind of different, especially when you're watching the results. It's kind of like it's a different thing. I'm not really nervous. I'm hopeful. I'm more hopeful than I've ever been that Oregonians are going to make the right choices and that they're going to vote for who's going to help them this time around.
Good.
And so I'm very hopeful that we could have, from the governor on down, clean slates, new people in, and get things done. Now, there are some incumbents that we do need, like Paul Salvis is running for office. We have Senator Bill Kinnemer is running. We need to get these people into office because, like in the Senate, if we have 15 senators in, we can stop things. We don't have to do a walkout. Yes. And so that's why it's important. I know lots of people complain, but I don't like that particular person. Yes, but they have more in common with us than they don't. And so that's why we got to vote basically Republican up and down the line. I know that's kind of difficult and it's hard.
It is, but
and a lot of times it is voting for like the lesser of two evils. I mean, I started voting. I only got to vote once in person going to a precinct, by the way. After that, it's all been by mail. And, a lot of times you're like, okay, well, do I want this person or this person? And but this time, I don't think it's just that. We have a lot of excellent candidates running.
Yes, we do.
And so I'm excited and hopeful. I'm concerned that if not enough people vote, that maybe there might be the more people who vote, the harder it is to cheat in an election, I guess is the way to say it. And so the more of us that are out there working and voting and doing things, I think we will have hope. If not enough people show up, then I guess I would be concerned at that point.
Yeah.
But I tend to try and be positive. Yes.
We need you to vote.
We need you to vote. See, that's why I don't want to be too positive, because I don't want you to think, oh, it's easy, we'll just cruise. No. We have to fight for every vote, and all candidates that I know are out there working very hard.
Yes.
And one of the ones running for state representative, a couple weeks ago had already hit over 2,000 doors. Now that's impressive to personally knock on that many doors.
Yes.
And so we have a lot of candidates who are working really hard to give us the much needed change. We just need the rest of you to go out and vote for us.
Yes. Absolutely, I agree. Go out and vote. And I'd like to say, when it comes to governor, we've got 3 choices. We've got, because Kate Brown will not be returning, we've got Tina Kotek, which is Kate Brown on steroids, in my opinion. We've got Betsy Johnson, and we've got Christine Drazen. And I know Betsy is kind of pulling people that are conservative away and really, flashing them with the right buzzwords and saying the right things. But she is a lifelong Democrat. She's been in office. She's part of the reason we're in the boat we're in. Mm-hmm. Christine Drazen isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I'll tell you what, I know her personally. I've met her. Mm-hmm. She did a lot of work for us, Decatur, when the fires hit. Mm-hmm. She really worked hard for our community. She doesn't forget about the little guy, and her roadmap is amazing. And I'd like to say, if you are a conservative and that's what you want to see, she's the only choice when it comes to governor. And I really hope that people give her a chance. Hold her accountable when she's in office. Make her do what she says she's going to do, but give her the shot.
Right. Well, the thing with Betsy Johnson that gets me is she actually voted for tolling, and I guess she recently said on Lars Larson or something she's against it, but she voted for it. The cat's already out of the bag.
Yeah.
If she hadn't voted for it, who knows where we have been on that.
Yeah.
She has already softened her stance on gun rights. She wants to lower the age from 21 to 8, higher the age, from 18 to 21 to buy. We send 18-year-olds off to fight our battles. Yeah. If we can't trust them with guns, then why are we sending them off to war at 18?
And they could potentially sacrifice their lives for
us,
but they can't have the, that doesn't
make
sense.
I'm totally against that. I don't know. She's already changed her mind due to pressure, so what else would she do? So, Christine Drazen agrees with me on more issues than Betsy ever has. Yep. And she will get in there. And I know a lot of people don't see her as a fighter, but I'm not sure where they get that. She's a mom. Have you ever met a mom that wasn't a fighter?
Heck yeah, she's a mama bear. And she is a fighter. She fought hard. I know she fought hard for us. She fights hard. Like I said, there's a lot of things in politics people don't get. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of times she's been fighting for things, but she's outnumbered. Or there's a lot of times that happens and you can't control that. But she continues to fight and she continues to push. Even when people are berating her or whatever, I personally think that, and I've talked to her, I know her heart, where her heart is at. And I think that's really important. Like where your heart is with the people. And I think that's super important in a candidate is what their motives are.
Right.
And I believe her motives are good. I can't say the same for the other 2.
Right.
So we have one more thing here. I've also met Drazen. She's awesome. And she's the only one of the 3 that cared about our small town during the fires. Yeah, again, and I met a lot of people during the fires because we were running the relief center. We met Christine. We met our 2, Merkley and what's the other guy's name? Wyden.
Oh, both of them came out?
They both came.
Okay.
But there were certain ones that came to take pictures. And there were ones that came to make a difference. And Christine Drazen and Tootie Smith and some other people came to make a difference that cared about what was going on instead of just a photo op. Just like there was, there were council people in our town that came to do a photo op or take a tour with these people that came. And there were those that actually made a difference that were working on the ground. So like I said, motives are important, and I'm really glad to hear everything you have to say because you need to be able to get your name out there, put all your thoughts out there so people know what they're voting for. Is there anything else you would like to say to everybody out there watching about you or the election or anything?
Well, to those who live in the district and vote for me, I would really love the opportunity to go in there and make the change we've been talking about. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what your concerns and your issues are. I'd love to speak to any of you. If there's an event coming up I can go speak to, I'd love to do any of that. My goal is to go in and represent you. And so I would love to meet as many of you as I can. And as far as, running for office isn't easy. But we are all doing it because we do want to go in and make that change. So I do want to make a last minute call for help candidates out. Yeah. It may not be me. It could be any of the other ones we named or ones we haven't named yet. But pick candidates you can help and help them any way you can. I've named a couple of ways. There's probably hundreds more that we haven't thought of that you can help your candidate. But please try and help us because we can if we can get in there, we can help you, but we can't get in there without you. We need votes, but we also need help to help reach as many of the voters as possible.
I agree with
Oh,
that.
and my website, I should probably
Yes.
do that. It is joanna4organ.com. That's JOANNA, the number 4organ.com.
Awesome. So
And links to all my social media pages are on the website.
perfect. We'll check that out, and we will post that on our page as well so that you can access that. Next week, we will have Dana Hinman Allen here to talk about election integrity a little bit deeper. It's going to be really, really interesting, so check that out. And like we said, support your candidates. Vote, vote, vote. It's very important this time. It's always important. And if you want to make a difference, get involved. Don't sit back and chatter online. Actually get involved. Get to know these people. Talk to them. Learn the truth, not the rumor. And have a good week and love each other and be kind and awesome. And we'll see you next week.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, guys.
Folk